Wait for the red light. Technical difficulties. I'll be right with you. All right, we are live. We are live. We are live. For those that don't know me that are watching, my name is Will Starr, and I am also known as Dreamer, broadcasting live from Dreamland Studios. Welcome to Artist Talk, folks. And won't everybody please give a big Artist Talk welcome to Simon and to David. Simon's from England, folks. David is from Germany. How is everybody today?
Good. Very well, thank you.
Very well, thanks. Yep, doing good.
Welcome to Artist Talk, guys. And it's all about guitars. It's all about love for music. It's all about inspiration and passion just passion for what we do, you know. And today it's all about jazz guitars, jazz music, jazz inspiration, and the wonder and beauty of the style of music that's called jazz. So let's start with you, David. Tell me, give everybody, all the listeners, a short history, musical history of yourself, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Hartford, Connecticut. I'm actually from America, as you can hear. See, Simon, you can probably hear that.
Yes.
But, born and raised in Hartford, Connecticut. I went to the Hart School of Music there for jazz guitar, and I met a girl there, and we got together when she was there. She was an au pair for a while, and then she was doing an internship, and I was done with school first, and then I said, okay, we want to stay together. And I said, I'll come to Germany. It's 25 years now since then. So I've been living here in Essen, Germany now for 25 years. I'm primarily a music teacher. I teach guitar, play gigs, have a little recording studio here. That's what I do.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, David. Simon, you're from England.
Yeah, I'm from England. I'm in Norwich at the moment on the east coast of England. I started playing the guitar when I was in my mid-teens at around 14, and I played at that time. I tried to play blues and things like that, and I had a few private lessons. And then I think and I played in blues bands around near London, on the outskirts of London. And then after hearing, I think, Kenny Burrell's Midnight Blue, which I'm sure you must have heard, at the age of, I must have been probably quite late, maybe about 20 or something like that. I started being more interested in jazz guitar, and I attended a summer school at the Guildhall in London and studied some jazz harmony. and had private lessons. And that's how I started. And then I've just been, I also, I'm basically self-taught, I suppose, really. I learned a lot of some Joe Pass video tutorials that I bought. You must know them.
Joe Pass, yeah.
Hot Licks. I think the videos were called Hot Licks in the
Hot Licks, yeah.
in the 1980s. And from that, I learned how to play walking bass lines with my thumb and putting in the chords and things like that.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I had well, you can get all of those now on YouTube. That's really it's a great thing.
That's right.
Back
That's
in
right.
the day, I got a hold of, or I think I got it as a present from the one from Tuck Andrus, and that was a real eye opener for me too.
He is phenomenal. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I haven't seen that. I'd like to. I might have to try and find that. Can you see that on YouTube?
Yeah. But he's been doing with his wife. He's been doing
Tuck and Patty.
Yeah, they do the Tuck and Patty, but they've been on Facebook doing like these live things, and then he would do a Tuck conference, and those are really cool. He's got a
I think I may have seen that actually. I think has he been doing that since since the pandemic?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I've seen that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the school where I went, it was very much bebop oriented. So that was exactly the thing that I was into, and I'm still into it. I mean, it's
me too. I studied bebop. I think it's very chromatic, isn't it? And there's certain rules about where you can put in the half steps in the scales when you're just coming on descending lines, which is quite difficult on the guitar actually. On the piano it feels more logical, it feels easier, but on the guitar I never found that so easy. So mainly what I try to do is try to get it as chromatic as possible, the lines. I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose everyone has their own idea of how you should study or how it should sound, but would you agree with that?
I'm a big fan of learning from the records. If you want to learn sit down and learn a couple of Charlie Parker solos or Dizzy Gillespie solos.
Yes.
That's where I always felt like I got the most out of it. As far as the phrasing goes, and
me too. Yeah.
That I would just try to grab as much as that I could, and maybe like play along with the record to get it, so.
Yeah. Do you actually spend time transcribing solos, or just trying to get a rough idea of the feel? Or do you actually write the solos down, or
when I set when I set my mind to it, and back in the day when I was doing a lot more, I'm really fascinated with the art of listening to something and putting it on paper. I mean, that's something that's been fascinating to me for my entire adult life. So that's if I'm going to do it, I mean, a lot of times it's very time consuming, and you need to invest a lot of time.
That's difficult. It's difficult. That is. I think I heard Pat Metheny saying that there's different ways you can do it, or it may have been I can't remember his name now. Another world-class guitar player saying that there's different ways you can learn it. You can do it as you do, writing it down, or you can do it orally by listening.
Well, actually, I mean, when it comes down to it, like I said, it's very time consuming. I don't always, or I didn't always do it. I don't always do it. So, I mean, a lot of times it comes out to be you just, grab a few things and, make as much as that. But like if I really like, for example, Pat Metheny, it was that one record that he did with Dave Holland and Roy Haynes that I really spent a lot of time trying to write it all down, and at that time in my life, I had that time. I don't have that time anymore.
Absolutely, yeah.
I've got to work, and so I mean, with the Corona thing now, I've had a little bit more time. But I always felt like for me that in the end, that I had the most, I took away the most from that, that I was able to
Yeah.
really, really, that I really felt like I made a step. Because, you really have to think about all of of course, the notes, trying to get the notes right, but you're also, you're thinking about, you got to really know where the time is so you can write it,
Mm.
so that's where I always felt
Yeah.
like back in the
I
day
think.
when you didn't have the software that you have now that you can slow it down. So I was like,
Yeah.
you CD, you rewind back, a second or whatever, and then let's do it. You just it's
Very.
different.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot more information now, and I think it's a lot easier for younger players to study now. Obviously, back in the 1980s, all we had were records.
Yeah,
Um, but I remember I used to jam along with records for hours. I used to jam along with a George Benson record,
yeah.
one of his earliest recordings before he started singing, uh, trying to get the same rhythmical feel,
Yeah, yeah.
trying to get the right feel, because I think with jazz, what's difficult is to get the right sort of bouncy feel, sort of with classical music and other styles of music. It's played with a much straighter feel, isn't it? The notes are sort of do re, straight. Whereas
Well,
in jazz, you have to accent the notes to get the right sort of bounce.
yeah. But
And I,
you listen to different guys playing, and if you listen to Jimmy Rainey, he's playing very much straight than more than Smith.
hmm,
Up, 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 up. He's playing
yeah,
carving up the line much differently, much
that's
different
true.
than like a Barney Kessel would have, but
Yeah,
so
I love
anyway,
Jimmy Rainey. He's phenomenal. He's
yeah,
the godfather of bebop guitar, and I think Barney Kessel is absolutely phenomenal as well, obviously. But he has a great uh, rhythmical feel and a lovely jazzy feel. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So if you can take like you can check out a bunch of different guys, and not just the guitar players, of course, go
Yeah.
check out Bert and
I think Charlie Parker is the one to try to, get the Omni book. Try to learn. If you don't learn the whole solo, at least try to get some
yeah,
phrases or lines or things that he did to try to get the flavor of the music. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
What I'll do now more is that I'll maybe take like a phrase, I'll learn a phrase, and then I'll try to like assimilate that as much as I can. I'll take it and I'll put it through the keys, and
Yeah.
just putting it through the keys gives you like a whole you're dealing with it. You've got to play it another 12 times, but then
Yeah.
over the neck, and maybe work on some different fingerings, and that seems to be like you know a good thing to do too.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Learning phrases in all 12 keys is very important. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I,
You don't
I agree. Yeah.
get that situation where you're at a session or we're somewhere and somebody's, you say, okay, let's play Georgia, and then the singer comes along. She's like, well, I want to play an A. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, you gotta be ready for that. So that's always a good challenge, but you can get caught with your pants down on that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's yeah. I agree. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I've, yeah. Also I think on those Hot Licks videos, always remember Joe Pass saying that when you're improvising, you shouldn't be thinking about scales or
Yeah,
arpeggios. Um, you should just kind of forget, because obviously it's like a language. But when
yeah.
you're speaking, you wouldn't be thinking about grammar or what word am I going to say next. It should just flow, um,
It's
which
got to
is
be all. It's like the thing going back to the language. It's got to be in context. I mean, you can't be like talking about a subject. You're talking like about plumbing or whatever, and not there's like throw all these different words. I mean, you've got to you're improvising on like a tune like on Georgia or whatever. You're thinking about Georgia. You're thinking like in the Georgia form. This is the form of the chord. This is the way the tune goes. The chords go. Then you've got to, instead of like thinking like with licks or whatever, you're thinking of like, okay, what's the melody, where the melody notes, and what's the, just sort of like staying in that sort of realm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think as I say, recently I've been studying the piano, and I've realised that the guitar is actually quite a difficult instrument to play jazz, especially solo jazz guitar like Joe Pass did. Trying to play the bass line and the chords and the melody and the harmony all at the same time is quite tricky. For years, I've been experimenting whether to play with my fingers or play with the pick. So more recently, I've been doing both. I've been holding the pick between my thumb and first finger, doing this sort of thing, so that when you play lines, you can just play with the pick. So because I don't have such a great technique with my thumb.
And I don't have the great technique with the first, with the first and second finger. So I can't
No, I'm not great at that either. No.
With the thumb and the first finger, but I do the same thing. I'll do a mix of holding onto the pick, using my middle finger, my ring finger, maybe a little bit of my pinky, but not all that much. Yeah, I mean it's something that's been like troubling me my whole life.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's been the problem of my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you guys one thing that everybody always needs is a good tuner.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially tuning's a very I mean, just trying to get the guitar in tune is fiddly, I mean, Martin Taylor was saying, I heard him saying on a video that you should tune the tuner first, but then because music is not exact, after you've tuned with the tuner, you should recheck it, the harmonics by ear, and you'll probably have to lower that G string slightly to get it exactly right.
Have you guys checked out Tim Lurch? You know Tim?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've seen his videos. Yes.
He put up something on YouTube that was really good. It was, it's to of course you can you tune to a tuner, and but then he had like this thing that he did. Wait, let me get this here. You play the D and G strings in the ninth fret, playing E and B. Here you got the B, and here you got the E. And then you do a harmonic here at the seventh fret.
Yeah.
The E. Get the E. B, and then. And it should all be the same. And that's really to hear if your guitar is within itself in tune. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's because the frequencies of music. I can't quite remember exactly what it is, but it's something that we don't hear music perfectly. The frequencies are kind of it can alter, so that can be a problem. Of course, you don't have that problem on the piano. A piano will be tuned up.
That's the piano out of tune.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, being a guitar teacher, you're tuning guitars all day, and you really get it in your ear. But I still, after all these years, the B string is always, for me, that's a frequency that of course, I can do it really quick, whatever. But to really pinpoint, I need a tuner or do like I just said, the thing I just did.
That's weird. I know exactly what you're talking about. The B string is always the one that's always flat. You always have to tighten it up a bit.
Yeah. It's a weird frequency for me. I mean, maybe my ears.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I have the same. I have the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, Simon. Dwight Bailey says, "Awesome looking guitar."
That's that's a guitar that I brought over with me from the States. It was the only guitar I had. I had 2 guitars at that time, or 3 guitars. I had I had that one that I got from my grandfather bought it for me back in the day. It's a 78 175,
Mm.
and I've had it, since I came over, the past 25 years or whatever. And I had it, a few years before. But also had a Stratocaster, an 88 or 89 Stratocaster, that I sold when I moved here. So that's kind of a drag now. But I mean,
Yeah. Okay. What do you think about playing jazz on solid body guitars or semi acoustics? I prefer this. I prefer. Okay.
There you
Okay.
go.
I'm thinking of the Canadian. There's a Canadian guitar player, Ed Bick. Ed Bickett.
Ed Bicker, Ed
He,
Bicker.
he plays a. He's one of my heroes.
Oh
He
yeah, he played a
and plays.
Telly. He played a 53 Telly.
Okay. Okay.
Beautiful telly. I was going to ask you about that one, David. That's
Yeah, Tellys. I
beautiful.
mean, Tellys are. I mean, it's like an easy guitar. I mean, you tune
Hmm.
it, like 2 years later, you can tune it again. I mean, to exaggerating, but that's a. I mean, that one is also very, very. I like to play. I mean, really like the way my right hand sits on the ashtray in the back, and that's different than the 175. So,
Yeah.
that's another thing about Tim. Tim Lurch is really just a great. He's a telly guy, and
Okay. Yeah.
Ted Green played a telly on
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
album. He did one album back in 77 or
Yeah.
78, and that was all done on a Telecaster.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I heard. I was watching an interview of Lenny Bro,
yeah,
and he was saying that it's strange sometimes going from the solid body telly to acoustic because to a nylon string because the necks are wider.
yeah,
And I think he had a guitar made, an electric guitar made with a wider neck, like an acoustic to compensate.
yeah.
Do
He
you
kept.
find that difficult going backwards and forwards?
Excuse me, I didn't hear you. What you said?
Do you find that ever strange going from a very light Telecaster neck to the Gibson?
Well, the Gibson I've had for so long, it always feels like home when I play it. I mean, I can't really. And the Telecaster, I mean, like I said, I like the cool Dwight.
Yeah.
Telecaster, the Telecaster, I always like the right hand.
Ice tea
My right
birds.
hand sits on that much better than or it feels very comfortable on a telly. So, you know,
Yeah,
it's a the the thing that I always feel like when I go from one guitar to the other is that the different string gauges. Like if I use a west, a acoustic guitar, which has got much thicker strings and whatever, into an electric guitar, that I tend to overplay at the beginning when I pick up the electric
mm,
guitar. Um,
yeah.
so
I've been playing. I have a gypsy jazz guitar because I love playing. Personally, I really like the acoustic sound. Although I don't really play, I wouldn't describe myself as a gypsy jazz player. I can play a little bit of gypsy jazz, but it's not my favorite style. But
mm,
I do like the acoustic guitar. Yeah.
yeah,
Who would everyone say started, or actually, who would everyone say originated the gypsy jazz style of music?
Django Reinhardt.
Yeah, Django Reinhardt invented it. I would say he was absolutely probably. I've heard him described as the best musician of the last century. I think. Yeah,
Well, I
and,
mean, it's always subjective. I mean, that's
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not a. There is no best or worst.
no. I mean, I really do. I did at some point in my time. I really listened to him a lot. I don't
Yeah,
do
me
necessarily
too.
do that anymore, but I'll have my phases where I'll put on my Django stuff, and I really like him.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, me too.
everybody, everybody say hi to my friend Cutter Savage.
Hello, Cutter.
Says what's
I
up,
got it.
and he what else? Hello. Dwight says hello to Cut.
Hi, Dwight.
Cutter Savage is a phenomenal player, and he's in the middle of a mixing stage of his solo debut. And when his music's released, he's agreed to do a 3 day event live here on Artist Talk, and I'm gonna help him debut his new solo release.
Well, that's a great idea.
Fantastic.
So I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be good. And the only reason why I brought this up now is because I had told Cutter has been ever since I showed Cutter that you both were going to be on. Cutter has been messaging me every day about this moment, and Cutter was really looking forward to hearing what you're both wanted to say.
That's
And
great.
Thank you. Thanks.
just want to let you know that Cutter's been looking forward to this almost as long as I have.
His debut.
Great.
You know, the let's see what else. Cutter also says, "Thank you for the kind word on my playing wheel. You're too kind." Now, come on, dude. You know me, man. I love what I love. I know what I love, and I call it like I see it.
Way.
Keep it simple.
What do you? I mean, do you have do you teach or do anything, or what's your?
Well, I do occasionally teach guitar, and I have done quite a lot over the years, mainly to private students, and I play around the bars and clubs here in Norwich. I go, if I haven't got a gig, I'll go to the open mics and play some standards.
Yeah.
But I think the jazz scene in England, it's better in London. It's good, I think. Down in London, there's loads of players and atmosphere of jazz. Maybe where I'm living, it's not quite so popular. But how is it in Germany where you are?
Well, I mean, you could probably play every night if you wanted to. It's just it's question if you want to make money or not. It's
Yeah.
jazz, but the scene is good here. There's a lot of good guys over here, and it's right in the middle of the this is the region here is very there's a lot of people, very well populated, very highly populated. So this if you want, there's a session every night you can go to if you wanted to. Um, I've got a friend who's he's also from England. He was Eric Richards is his name. Plays solo piano and his bass plays the bass and he's working a lot.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. Yeah.
That I work a lot. I've got a couple of things going on, a couple of projects that whatever and then but I teach mostly, and that's I've got a family with kids and
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. What do you think about the modern players coming out of Berklee College of Music? Like the young guys. Like I'm more familiar with the older guys. I think from the 50s and 60s and 70s probably, but people like oh God, what's his name? I can't remember his name. But I think the younger guys are sometimes accused of being a little bit maybe too intellectual, and not quite. And you can't sing their solos.
well,
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, it's it's.
Do you prefer the older guys from the 50s, or?
I don't really.
I like everything. I think.
I have to. Well, the the guys coming out of Berkeley you could be talking about, Pat Metheny, John Scofield, Bill Frisell, and you know that's for me old guys. Those are guys that I grew up
Yeah,
with. That's
yeah.
you got, but the and the other guys like Kurt Rosenwinkel.
That's who I was trying to think of. Yeah,
Kurt is a fantastic guitar
yeah.
player, but
Phenomenal, phenomenal.
he's not like he's not he's not the young guys anymore. He's up way higher and made a name for himself, and has his own sound. He's fantastic, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Phenomenal. Yeah, yeah.
I listen to uh, here there's a conservatory here in Essen too that that's they're very much modern. I mean, the music is developing all the time, so
Yes, yeah. That's right. Yeah,
Well, I think about the thing about music is that um, there's no boundaries. There's no rules, and I've always kind of found myself leaning towards well, I don't know how else to put it, but leading towards the outer worldly um, inspiration. Music to me is kind of it's a medium that I'm able to open my heart and my soul and take inspiration in. And music is that medium that is so essential,
absolutely. It's certainly an international language. I think if when you go traveling, if you're able to play music, it's a great medium to meet other people
Yeah,
and
definitely.
have a common interest like what we're doing now. That's I think that's what makes it so important, that it's the only completely international language that everyone speaks.
Yeah, I mean,
Which is great. Yeah,
to be able to play a blues is you can go anywhere in the world and hang with other people. It's
yeah, yeah. So I think that's great. Yeah, and it's music can change the human condition like nothing else. Well, but like art, it's that's why it's so important, I think. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, looks like it appears that my buddy Cutter has a question for everyone. What about Guthrie Govan? He
Yeah,
seems to be
Guthrie,
Jan's influence.
he's amazing.
Oh, he's absolutely on another planet. Phenomenal. Yeah,
Yeah,
he can play anything. Absolutely phenomenal.
yeah,
Thank you, Cutter.
I love his playing. Yeah.
yeah. But like when I think like to myself, like I I I I, I catch myself sometimes maybe getting into a rut, like I'm listening to like bebop, whatever, listen to, and then I'll be like, okay, I need to listen to like Alan Holdsworth today, or
Alan Woodward.
something that's modern or whatever to sort of enrich that, and open up that other side again, because and then I'll do that for a couple days or a week or however long, and then
Hmm.
I can't hear it anymore. I got to go listen to something else, because
Yeah,
there's
me too. Yeah,
so many.
I'll do the same. I'll listen to Alan Holdsworth as well for a few days, and then I'll change to something else. And
Yeah,
not only guitar players, I listen to a lot of piano players. I love obviously Bill Evans
yeah, yeah,
and all the great pianists. Um, but Alan Holdsworth is just the concept of harmony is just so advanced.
yeah,
Uh, he's taken the Joe Pass ideas. Joe Pass was saying that he puts harmony into 4 categories and doesn't, when, as I was saying earlier, when you're soloing, you shouldn't be thinking of scales or arpeggios. Just think of C major or C minor or dominant or 3 categories, I think. Yeah. Is that how you improvise, David?
Well, actually, when I improvise, like I was saying before, I'm thinking of the tune. You know, I'm thinking about the the realm of that tune or whatever.
Yeah.
But then I'm also thinking much about the chord tones. Like if you're playing on a major seven
Yes.
chord, I'm thinking about
Yeah.
the thirds. Mostly thinking about the thirds of the chord. Because the third of the chord is going to define whether the chord is I'm staying away from any
Yes.
root or fifths or anything. Thinking about the
Okay.
third. The third is going to tell you if the chord is major or minor. The
Yeah.
seven is going to tell you. So that's what I'm thinking of. And
Yeah. Me
you know,
too. I think. Yeah.
because when you're thinking, well, at least for me, when I'm thinking about, if you, once you've been going for a while and playing in that tune for a while, you get a feel for like the A section, the B section, the bridge, and then, you can really play anything if you know how to get out of it.
Hmm.
If you get back into a chord tone to like get yourself back into you know, I'm talking about like, if you've got the feeling that everybody knows where you are, even if you go outside, that if you can bring it back, then that's what I think like the main thing is. If it's not working and you're not feeling it, whatever, then I'm just going for the chord tones or maybe just like playing the melody
Yeah.
and just get
Yeah.
out. You know, don't stop my solo. But if you're like a session or whatever, and it's like not clicking. So just I don't need to do
Yeah.
that.
And I think leaving space is really important.
Yeah,
Obviously, leaving space. I think that can take quite a while to be able to do that. To play phrases, leave space, come back in.
sure,
And sort of mix it up with ideas. It can
sure.
be. It's not easy. No. It's. Well, I heard Miles Davis saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a great one to transcribe because he just didn't like really play so played very melodic and very really I did some solos of his back in the day when I was in school, and I really felt like I got a lot out of it, just like getting a feeling of space,
Yeah.
you know not just not being rushed because you think you
Mm.
got to play all these notes.
Yeah. I think the album A Kind of Blue was one of the first jazz albums that I heard maybe when I was in my late teens, and that really got me more interested in playing jazz. And I also seem to remember learning the first few bars of the solo from So What.
Yeah.
I think most people probably learn that, and that got me more interested in playing jazz.
Hey,
Absolutely, yeah.
well, Dwight, thanks for hanging out, Dwight.
See, do I? Yeah, I've
So
been
yeah,
doing a jazz workshop over here for almost 20 years now. Every year we do it, and the leader of the guy who runs the thing, he we do like as a group thing with the students. They play what's the name? What's the blues on that one?
oh yeah. Is that Freddie the
Freddie
Freeloader?
Freeloader,
Oh
right? Freddie, we do the Freddie Freeloader with them, and
yeah, okay.
with my guitar students, we'll play it, and that's always been it's another good one. It's
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a
it's
good
not
one to start with.
not
Yeah,
intimidating because you're playing a lot of notes. It's not so that's another good one. So
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I think
So,
one of the blues that most people learn is that Thelonious Monk one. Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, da-na-na-da-da-da-da. What's that called?
Blue Monk,
That's it. Yeah, that's the one that a lot of people's and a good one to start with,
yeah,
or Billy's Bounce, something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I do like a Wes, Wes. What was I don't remember some of the early ones that Wes did.
Yeah. Yeah, about 10 years ago, I had a Wes Montgomery trio with organ, and I learned some Wes tunes. We did jingles and road song, maybe half a dozen Wes Montgomery tunes. I love, playing octaves.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
I remember my when I first started out, because I listened to a lot of like classic rock, and I was really a Deadhead, really into the Grateful Dead back in the day,
Yeah.
and they would always talk about Phil Lesh or Jerry Garcia, Bob Weir. They would always talk about Wes Montgomery, and I was like, I got to check this guy out, And at some point, I went to, back in the day, you go to the library, to learn to check out different new records or whatever. And they had a couple of Wes Montgomery records there, so I took them out, and one was called California Dreamin'.
Okay, that's one of his later ones, isn't it?
Yeah, with the strings and things. And I got
Yeah.
home, I'm like 18 or 19, put it in the CD player, and I was like, this is just not doing it for me. And it's like with all these strings and
Yeah.
orchestra. It was a cool sounding guitar or whatever, but I was like, not when I wasn't ready for it.
No.
And then
Yes.
and then I sort of kept them on the back burner, and then I went to and bought an amp from some guy, and he's like, oh, it's it was a jazz JC, a Roland JC 55, and he said
Roland JC.
Oh, those Roland jazz choruses, they're brilliant.
you can get a great.
I love those.
I was like,
I love those.
What's the deal with Wes Montgomery? I can't like, and he's like, oh, okay, and he handed me a tape, the alternative Wes Montgomery. Put it in my car when I was in the car, and it was Fried Pies.
Oh, okay.
I was hooked from that day.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I did not leave my car, and so that was now I love the West with strings, and one of my favorite.
But I agree with you. I prefer quartets, trio, quartet, or quintet more than a big band or with strings. I prefer a quartet personally. Usually, I think, and I agree with you. I think when I was in my teens, up until about 18 or 19, I was into rock, and I also remember listening to Wes Montgomery and not really understanding it properly because I was too young.
Yeah,
I think for me, maybe other people, understand the music younger. I don't know, but I think when I was 20, 21, that's when I started to
same here.
Get more interested by Wes Montgomery and those kind of players. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I remember putting it on. Like I said, it was Fried Pies was on, and I listened to the end
Twisted
of the song.
Blues.
If this is West, and I'm hooked. I'm in. And I rewinded it at the beginning, and it starts with Born to Be Blue, and that's phenomenal. It's that quartet with the Wynton Kelly trio with Paul Chambers.
Oh, Wynton Kelly trio. It's so the rhythms they have are just phenomenal. It's swing, but it's almost funky. So really great. Yeah.
So, if anybody could say what is their absolute number one, if there is such thing, favorite jazz mode or jazz scale to play?
Oh.
That's a strange question. Chromatic, probably. Learning how to play chromatic scales.
I can't really.
I don't know. I can't really answer that. I don't know. What do you think, David?
I think like
pentatonic minor.
I think I like to play the altered pentatonic major chromatic scale. The scale that I would,
I try not to think about scales too much, really, but.
Well, maybe the chromatic scale, because if I feel like that everything's clicking and everything's going well, then I can just play anything. So I'm playing like all these notes in between. It's like the chromatic scale. There's a video on YouTube with Victor Wooten, who's
Victor Wooten.
Playing every note. He's like, I can make every note sound good. He's playing a blues. He's just like starting.
Oh, really?
It's like going. Going up, going back down, playing every note.
Even the flat nine. Joe Pass said, "Don't play that flat nine on a blues."
Yeah. Well, I mean, there always are some sort of, notes that really kind of they rub you a little the wrong way. But I would, if it would be anything, it would be the chromatic scale. if they're
I suppose,
working.
yeah. I mean, also because you can play approach notes.
Yeah.
That really almost says you can play any note over anything, but you can't really. You have to follow the rules. I think anyway. You know,
It
but,
depends on the situation, you know. If you want everybody to know where you are, and you're not familiar with everybody, and nobody knows like your shit, your bag, what you call it, then it's a good idea to play notes and things that are going to work with everybody
I
else.
think I think if you play everything rhythmically correct and in the right place, you can get away with almost anything. I think probably, yeah,
But for me, it's more of a a feel thing within the group. Like if
yeah,
everybody, like everybody knows what that you're gonna be like playing some stuff. They're gonna like you know what's the word? I think they're gonna be like, oh, okay, I know he's doing something. He's having fun, whatever. So they'll keep their thing together. You know,
yeah,
or you have like you have you want to do with everybody. You just want to like you're playing free. That's another thing. I mean, just playing free. But like when it comes to like, or if you're playing a restaurant or something where it really matters. Like people are watching, and like I like to accompany a singer, and like that kind of thing. It's not a good idea to like play a bunch of outside stuff when it
no,
comes where you're playing a song with a singer, and you've got 8 bars of solo in the middle. Don't I mean I wouldn't like play chromatic scale. I play like the
no,
chords, play the chord tones, and just keep it
yeah,
together.
yeah. I would, in that situation, I would probably. I've also worked a lot accompanying singers over the years, and I think when it comes to your little solo break, I'd probably try to follow the melody more than anything,
Exactly.
and maybe just put a few things in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
kind of, well, playing with people is probably actually is my favorite thing as far as playing. Playing goes. I learned a long time ago from Carlos Santana, of all people, that music has a life of its own. And when 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 the whole spirit of the band is together and that synergy is there, it's like the notes that just come out of these four fingers take on a whole new meaning.
Yeah. It's very true.
And
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
you could say more with one note harmonically than you can with 10,000 notes all over the place.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
It,
Yeah,
I mean, everybody's different. I learned by ear, you know. I'm about non-traditional as you could get.
well,
But
I think in a way, everyone learns by ear, really. I mean, someone can show you what to do, and you can learn the music and everything, but at the end of the day, it's you that's got to, train your ear. It's all about listening, isn't it? It's all about when you're
Yeah.
playing in a band situation,
mm,
listening to each other is so important.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
mean,
it takes a while to sort of get used to doing that, maybe.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
In growing up, I was always playing by ear. My mom was a piano teacher, and she could
Uh,
like you could put down like a book where like I mean she could read like so great, and I just struggled with that. I mean I could like
Yeah,
pick guitar whatever. I knew that was the B note or whatever, but it really took a while. But I was able always able to really just pick it up faster by ear, and then
mm,
that way, and I could like figure it out on my fretboard, so that I could do it, and then later on, like when I was probably 19 or 20, it made the click with the reading. I think my dad was also a music teacher at school. He was a school music teacher, and he said to me one thing. He was like, there's those one little things that somebody says to you. He's like, just recognize patterns. And then I was like, oh, okay. And I kept seeing like his patterns coming up. And then I would like, make this mental sort of thing, like saying like, oh, okay, that when I see that, it sounds like that. So I just put it all together. It took me a long time. I was whatever, a slow learner.
Yeah.
But
I think traditionally a lot of jazz musicians did play based on ear. Yeah. But I think reading is obviously a great skill to have. It's a way of communicating between musicians. My reading's not great, but I can read lead sheets and I can read chord charts reasonably well. I think reading classical music is different to jazz, isn't it? Because usually in jazz you get the melody in the treble clef and the chords written above it, usually. Whereas in classical music, you'd have the treble and the bass clef, and you'd play on the piano both at the same time. So it's a slightly different skill.
I think. But I think it's very, I'm not a great reader, but I definitely noticed at some point that I could be even faster if I could see it and hear it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So,
yes. I learned a lot of things. I'm not a great reader either, but I have learned a lot of songs and solos and things from reading. Yes.
Yeah.
And reading chord charts in big bands and things.
Yeah.
Over the years, doing the sort of Freddie Green thing.
Yeah, the big band's great because this you play the chords, but then you also got like melody lines that you've got to play, and you got to usually you got to play it with another 20 people. So
yeah,
it's always a great challenge. So
yeah,
I enjoy playing the big band.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
So is everybody writing and recording music right now?
Yeah, I've written some of my own songs. I have some of my own songs. I haven't been concentrating so much on that recently. More recently, I've been practicing the piano more than anything. But yeah, I've written a few of my own songs. Yes.
What about you, David?
Yeah, I've written some stuff too. I mean, not at the moment. Like I'm like concentrating on whatever. I mean, if I do a duo with a singer that I like to, I'm learning a lot of the tunes that we want to play, and we're not rehearsing at the moment, unfortunately. But I've.
What kind of repertoire are you doing with the singer? Standards.
We do some standards. We do some soul, and he's a really great singer. It's like a kind of really soul-y kind of soul-like.
Yeah.
We did some Michael Bublé arrangements. We did some
nice.
But there's some German things with there's a German singer. His name is he's unfortunately he died back in 2006, I think. But Roger Cicero was his name, and he was a big band singer, and he really had some really good repertoire that we've been doing, and that's some
that sounds good.
Just sort of like we've got a gig, like okay, what we're gonna do, just having repertoire to be able to get do usually it's a 3-hour gig.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Actually, that just reminded me that talking about music, reading music, I think Count Basie, they did all their arrangements without reading music. I think Count Basie would just sing to the musicians the lines. I may be wrong here, but I think he just sang the lines that he wanted for the different sections of the orchestra to play, and they did everything by.
The story that I heard was a lot of times that the guys in the sections they sort of were like, oh, okay, they would get like a chart or whatever, and they would be like, okay, well, the way maybe the way the count had written it out or whatever, that they would be like, oh, well, you take this and you play the fifth year, or you play that.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure though.
No, I'm not quite sure either, but it sounds like a fairly unorthodox way of doing it. But a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but you think about the time too. But those guys were
Yeah.
like traveling 250 days a year. They were just constantly living together, and Duke Ellington was the same kind of thing. Because
Yeah.
living living sort of.
Yeah. They'd be touring a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And also playing when you play with the singer, do you play in duo?
We play in duo. Yeah, sometimes we have the last gig we had a bass player come along, and a sax player, but our main thing is basically just duo. And he
Yeah.
plays a bass too, but I said to him, I really like the challenge of being the only instrument, and
Yeah.
so I mean, if
I
he didn't,
I
I would just like to play the guitar and have him sing. I really like the way he sings. So
Yeah. I think guitar and voice duo is quite a challenge for guitar players. I also love doing that as well. Yeah, definitely. But it's nice when there's a bass player. It cha- I think I almost change the way I play if I just play on my own with a singer, or if there's a bass player, I might change slightly my technique to adapt to having the bass player.
yeah.
Sometimes maybe because obviously I wouldn't need to do the bass lines.
Right. Well, it's just that having somebody there that you can basically lean on when it comes,
Yes.
when the singer
May-
stops singing, you got something to sit on.
Yeah,
But that's
probably makes it easier.
Yeah, but that's what I really like. I mean, that's the challenge that I like.
Yeah, yes, me too. Yes, yeah.
So, what's the best kind or best brand or best style of instrument to play jazz, to play just chromatic, four finger, three finger, um, or half fret stretches? What's the best kind of instrument or the best brand of instrument for a young player out there who's just starting to learn the feel of music to use to play and learn a jazz technique?
Simon.
Do you mean for children or
It's a beginning player, just
yeah?
somebody
Well,
just starting out.
I would say a nylon string guitar to start with a softer action might be a bit easier to play. You must have heard what's his name? Clue. Um,
Earl Clue.
Earl Clue. Yeah, he plays a nylon string. I love Earl Clue's playing. I would say a nylon string. Yeah.
David, what do you think?
I mean, like Simon's question, is it for a kid that's learning to play guitar, or is it
Just for a beginning, somebody just learning what a G, A, and D chord is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say too with the nylon string, but on the other hand, like you think about the people that are really influential today. Ed Sheeran, you want to get somebody, you want a steel string guitar for that. I mean,
That's
really
true.
it depends. I mean, it depends on what the parents are capable of buying or spend. What kind of money they're going to spend, or what.
Yeah.
And I'm a true believer in that the guitar is if you're the guitar I don't like to be like like really kind of what's the word, like the guitar is going to find you, but you go to the store and you see the guitar, doesn't matter if it has steel strings or nylon strings, you pick it up and you think it's cool, and it's the guitar for you, what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I always sort of tell parents in that situation, don't buy an electric guitar, because
Mm.
it could turn out in 6 weeks or whatever it's sitting in the corner, and it's it. If a person's been playing for a year or two, whatever, and they like it, they play a lot, then an electric guitar is great. But
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah. I would suggest buying a the cheapest nylon string to start with, probably, just to make sure that you're really going to be interested in it.
Yeah,
But I think once some people really take to it, and then if they really like it, as you say, David, maybe buy a more expensive one later.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I was just curious. The conversations that we're having is kind of taking me back to when I first learned how to play guitar.
Yeah.
And I remember, ironically enough, I had a nylon string.
Yeah.
oh,
I
well, that's
had a
good.
nylon string.
My dad took a guitar from his school. It was an old Yamaha, with a nylon string. That's what I started to play on.
Yeah,
I think I learned the horse with no name.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
he used to play on Sundays in the church. He was a trumpet player, and he didn't have a babysitter on that day, so he took me to the church with him, and then he was like, "Well, here, I brought along a guitar. Maybe you could try out guitar today." And then he showed me the E minor and D chord, the chords.
yeah,
I just but I also had, like, my friends were getting into it in school, and I had a bunch of friends. And I probably told them, like, some guys at school were already starting to play guitar, and they're really good, and you know, so I was getting the inspiration from the other kids at school.
yeah, yeah. Right.
No, I don't know. Well, the difference between chromatic would be all four fingers, correct?
Uh, that, you could look at it like that. You could play chromatic with three fingers, I think, or two probably,
With one.
or one. Yeah.
The,
Uh,
the, the, the two categories would be diatonic and then chromatic. I mean,
yeah.
diatonic means you're playing within the key. Like I said,
Hmm.
you're C major, you're playing just in the notes of the C major. You're just playing C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. But if you're playing
Yeah.
chromatic, you're playing C, C sharp, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G sharp. Playing all of
Yeah.
the
Yes.
notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
And then with altered dominant seventh chords, you've got your diminished and augmented.
Yeah, of course.
That's
You're
what I learned.
diminished.
Yeah.
What exactly would be the definition of a diminished chord or diminished voicing?
A diminished
Uh,
chord is made up of. Or go ahead, Simon.
Stacking thirds.
Stacking thirds, right? Minor
Yeah.
thirds. And the diminished scale, or the diminished chords, or the diminished scale, is a symmetrical scale. It's got one more note. You're playing not only the seven notes of the scale, but it's got if you're playing the diminished scale, you're playing half step and then a whole step.
Yeah.
Step,
Half step, whole step, half step, whole step.
but when you do that, you get one more tone, one more note.
Yeah.
Now, if there was, we do have some good folks viewing right now, and that's why I'm asking these questions. And another one I have is um, when a player of any level, but when a player is doing a minor pentatonic run, how can they learn, especially if they don't have much theory background? How can they learn what's the first and what's the third of an E minor pentatonic scale? To understand that if somebody asks them, Can you play the first interval and the third interval of an E minor pentatonic scale? How would that be put across? How could the player be able to translate that?
Go ahead, David.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure whether if you're playing the E minor pentatonic scale, you play just with the open string. Play E, the G in the third fret, the A string in the second fret, the D string open, and then the octave is in the D string in the second fret. So that would be, the first note of it would be the E minor pentatonic. But then the third, which is making it the minor chord, is the G. That's the kind of things that I have. It's important to know, of course, and to understand the theory behind it, but it's not necessarily so important to be able to play it. You know what I mean? Learn it, and maybe learn some riffs with it, whatever. But the yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, you can learn to play without knowing the names of the notes and the names of the scales. I mean, knowing the names of the notes and the names of the scales and all that sort of stuff is. I mean, when you're playing a concert, the audience aren't thinking, does he know the names of the chords he's playing or things like that. The only thing that matters is the music. But having said that, I mean, going back to the idea that music's obviously a language, and you can speak a language without learning grammar or learning to read and write. And I think it's the same with music, but learning the grammar of music and to read and write, obviously, very, very helpful.
Yeah, I moved to Germany. I had to learn German, and not knowing what you're talking about or how to say it or whatever, you need a background. At the beginning, I leave that, like if I was teaching somebody, I would leave that up to them. At what point? I would probably say, here's the E minor pentatonic scale. This is the minor pentatonic because it's got the flat third in it. But then I wouldn't really expand on that, and then I would leave it up to them saying, like, well, why is this, and why there's a certain necessity in learning the grammar and learning the background to it when you're learning a language.
Yes. Yes. It makes it easier. It makes it easier.
It makes it easier. And I was getting sick of being like the guy at the bakery who was like, asking the wrong way. I wanted to have some foundation in it and some like command of it. So that's the same thing with music. I was always playing by ear and just doing my thing, whatever. But then at some point, I wanted to know why, and I wanted to know, like, okay, when I see that chord, what how should I go at it, And I was always the one that was more interested in the whole inner workings of the band or whatever. Why? I wasn't interested in being like the guy in front, like the one that everybody knew, but I was more interested in the whole everything that was happening in the background and why that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
That was more of my inspiration to become a musician. So I think it's very important to know what it is that you're doing, but at the time, if you're playing, you're at a session, whatever, a gig, whatever, then it's about closing your eyes and just doing your thing. That's the scale and the theory and all that. That's your practice time. That's what you got to be doing when you're shedding.
Yeah.
Sitting home.
Yeah, I agree. Yes. Yeah.
That no, I can't agree more with that. And it all goes back to like what I've seen, what I experienced. It's just how the music, when you're sitting at home when you're just running over some finger exercises, notes will start to pop out, and you
Yeah,
go,
I mean
"Where is that note? Where is that? Oh, I found it!"
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, you
the
yeah,
got those
notes just
two different sort of things that you got the whole intellectual side of it that you when you're practicing at home and you're thinking about things, maybe you're working things out, writing it out, whatever. But then it's important just to noodle, just to like play anything.
yeah. I think all guitar players sit around the house fiddling around on the guitar,
Yeah,
um, trying to work it out. Yeah,
yeah,
it's that one note. It's like one note will lead to the next note, and the 12 that you played in between those two will go over here, and then it's like grabbing. Once you find that little golden nugget, and then that takes you to the next little golden nugget, and all the other notes and bad notes and good notes in between are over here to the side. That's when something really starts to manifest itself.
yeah. It's very true.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's it's important where the phrase starts and where it ends, and it doesn't always have to end on the root note. You can
Yeah,
end on the third or the fifth or whichever note you want.
yeah.
Um,
Third
that's important. Yeah, yeah, and hopefully what goes on in between will find a way through the harmony.
doesn't matter to me. As long as you
Yeah,
start,
yeah, yeah,
a sentence. I mean, as long as I mean, you don't want to like say bullshit and not, but like it's as long as you get your point over and well, I guess that's not right. The sentence is not right because you want to say something fundamental. It's you want to be like saying shit. So you want to
yeah,
but with if you can make it work, then I think, and like I said, that's for me. That's the whole what's the group feeling. That's very important to me. And if that's happening, then I could I can I feel like I can play anything as long as I can come out of it, so everybody knows who I
yeah.
am. But
Another thing we haven't mentioned, I don't think, is having a good sound is incredibly important. Having a good
Mm.
sound, feeling comfortable with your sound,
yeah, that's very
and
true.
I've always believed that a good sound comes from your fingers. You can have the most expensive guitar and the most great amplifier,
The,
but the sound really comes from you, I think, and the way you fret the notes and pick the notes and the feeling that you put into it.
And your amp, if you're playing with playing electric with a band, you're probably going to need an amp, and your amp's going
Yeah,
to have just as much of a role in your sound. I'm not necessarily one for kind of like high octane or heavy metal, a really distorted sound, but I like a clean sound with a reverb
yeah,
and maybe, but just that's what's going to make me. That's a very good point. We didn't even talk about that, but having a good sound and a good atmosphere and a good everybody's clicking well together, and then
it all works together.
it all works.
yeah. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah, I know. Personally speaking, I like to have a nice plate reverb, and say about about 55% wet, and I like to have just slight EQ and almost like a little bit of modulation, a little chorus, and like a real slight one repeat echo or delay. And I like that. I found myself more playing with a clean amp, playing with a clean tone,
yeah,
and um, if I want to kick a little, get a little hair on my tone, I just have something like this.
Yeah.
The Freeman Brown Eye Overdrive Deluxe Overdrive, BOD Deluxe. But that's why it's called live. Anything and everything will happen.
Yeah.
But does anybody really know, or can anybody really recall, what were the amps? What were the amplifiers that Wes Montgomery used?
Wes played old Standals. Standel.
Did he? I don't know.
Yeah, there's pictures of him playing with Standals. I don't know if he
Okay.
always did, but yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the things about Wes, like he always like I think the Smoking at the Half Note.
I love the album.
He's got a great tone on that, and the one live in San Francisco with Johnny Griffin, he's got a great tone. But he always didn't have like a great sound. Like some of those recordings, you think like, well, it's playing is fabulous, but the sound. So you really wonder like what he had for an amp. You know what I mean?
And also playing with the thick, fleshy part of your thumb gives you a lovely thicker sound. I think a warmer sound than playing with the pick. And the story was that Wes Montgomery played with his thumb because the neighbors were complaining, and it was quieter.
He didn't want the neighbors to like complain. He didn't want the neighbors to hear it.
Yeah.
Same thing about Al Di Meola. Al Di Meola said the same thing, and he was always conscious of his neighbors, and that's why he's got such a light touch, Al Di Meola.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Wes didn't. He didn't want the neighbors to hear him. He didn't want them to I don't know if they complained or whatever, but I've been experimenting lately with the pick, and that you use, instead of using the pointy side of the pick, use the shoulder side of it, the thicker side.
Yeah. I've also experimented with that. Yeah.
I think that gives you like a different. It makes my guitar sound different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit more woody, I guess the sound would be.
The tonality.
Yeah.
And with the type of
playing an acoustic guitar, I always want to use that shoulder side of it, not really have that kind of, really, that's really kind of, scratching.
The type of pick you use can change the sound quite a lot.
That's true. Yeah, but the side, whatever side of the pick you're attacking the strings with.
I prefer quite a thick, bigger pick than a little one. I think Joe Pass, used half a pick. He was saying half a small pick, because he felt it got him nearer to the string.
Yeah. I do like the feeling of being in touch with the strings.
Absolutely.
I have found that jazz 3 picks.
Oh, okay, I know those. Yeah,
these are my favorite.
That's a bit small for me. I prefer a bigger one. I have one here. I've been using these big stubbies.
Oh, okay.
That's a 3 millimeter.
I have a couple of those.
Yeah.
Those are good too, because like if you get into a fight after the gig, you can kill somebody.
Yeah.
You have to register it with the police.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been using these Diodarios. These are 125s, or I use 150. So.
Standell.
Yeah. Chet had one. Chet Atkins' main amp in his studio was a Standell.
I haven't heard of those amplifiers.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. They're heavy as all. That's why Chet.
Do they still make them?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
The if there were any guitar accessories, guitar pedals that somebody just want to add just little a little something, just a little something, what would you guys recommend?
Go ahead, David, if you want.
Yeah, if you want to add like a boost, maybe
There you go, a boost, yeah.
solo boost, or just like something to put into your just to put in front of the amp. Maybe I like the exotic RC booster.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That is a
But,
very good
I
one.
think Jim Hall, used, I think he used an octaver, a
yeah,
slight octaver, and it kind of gives you a thicker sound, which
yeah,
I quite like. At the moment, I don't really use pedals at the moment, but I did think about getting an octaver.
yeah. That OC3 from Boss is supposed to be really, really good.
It
Yeah,
is
yeah,
actually.
The OC3 has a function that you can tune. I think the the like your deep E string from E to G sharp. I think
Mm-hmm.
you can dial it in so that when it
Yeah.
goes up G sharp, it's not octave. It's good. Like if you're playing bass notes or whatever, it's going to thicken up your sound for those first five notes: E, F sharp, G
okay,
sharp. And then once
yeah,
you reach A, it cuts out.
okay. So you can, if you're
Like
playing
if
bass
you
lines
go
with your thumb,
double, 2 octaves,
it'll
and it's
sound like a bass.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
good. Yeah,
don't want
I'd like to get one of those. Yeah, yeah,
Those, those are
I
good.
I use pedals in the studio. I have a pedal board that I use, and I have different things that I change out every once in a while. But with my gigs, I used to like be. I don't like having that thing in front of me, the pedal board in front of me, because most of the time, I mean, where I play, it's you're like, okay, you guys set up in the corner over there, and just move the fern out of the way, and you guys corners over there, and
yeah. It takes up more
I'm
room.
you know,
Yeah,
and there's like there's only two of us, and there's like room for like one person, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So and then you got this thing in front of you, and I just don't.
I'm really into acoustic, playing acoustic guitar, like um,
The Pro Octavia.
yeah. As I said earlier, El Clu's one of my favourites.
Yeah, yeah,
Although he
Yeah.
played nylon, he played nylon.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He made two solo records that are just fabulous. I love.
El Clu playing solo, yeah, I love watching his videos on YouTube.
Yeah,
Just wonderful, yeah,
and he was really very successful with his own music, with his own group. I mean, that's not
yeah,
necessarily a cup of tea, but that's he was very. I think he was made a lot of money and was very successful with that.
yeah, yeah. He is very successful. Yeah, he's world famous. Yeah, he played with George Benson.
Yeah,
George
Yeah,
Benson. That's another one.
yeah,
Ge-
George Benson's time feeling. His rhythmical feel is just he's phenomenal. My
yeah,
favorite.
yeah. And also his picking technique is also
Oh,
just
phenomenal! Yeah, yeah, I love it. Yeah, really good.
Does anybody know what kind of gear George Benson used?
he's well
Does he use an Ibanez
he's got
now?
the Ibanez GB30 or GB10 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Also got Fender amps.
yeah,
He's got George Benson amps.
Fender amps.
I think they're like hot rod deluxes with the Jensen CK12s or whatever they're called.
Hmm.
yeah. I think
And
he owns one of Wes Montgomery's guitars as well.
probably.
I would imagine that he owns a lot of guitars.
Oh yeah, he's one of the highest paid jazz musicians now.
Yeah.
He
If
is.
Yeah.
that's like a criteria, that's not necessarily.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there
You're
was a local music store right here where I live, and sadly enough, it closed down. But before it closed down, I remember I walked in there and I picked up a Fender Telecaster. And I started playing around on it. I had brought my slide with me and I brought my Evo with me. And I just started just messing around with a Telecaster, Fender Telecaster. And I looked up on the wall, and over here to the right was a single cutaway hollow body I'd never seen before. So I put the telly down, I walked over to the wall, and I looked up, and it was a George Benson Ibanez.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, I want that, and I was like, no, man. So I just kind of stood there in awe.
Yeah,
I always wanted one of those George Benson Ibanezes as well.
yeah, they've been they've been in production for almost over 40 years, I think.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, very nice.
Yeah, they're very nice. I
It
had
just
one. Somebody loaned me one, or I used to teach guitar at a music store, and they had one there. No, it was I think it was a customer that was always there, and he said, "Hey, I've got a Benson at home. Would you like to try it?" And he brought it in one day, and it's like, "Yeah, you can take it over the weekend and try it out." And I opened it up, was playing. It was it was great. I liked it a lot. And then upon looking at it a little bit more closely, someone had at some point drilled a hole in the headstock to be able to hang it from nowhere.
No,
And I was like,
no.
it had been closed. The hole had been closed up again and painted over. And I went back and I said, Klaus, somebody, who did this? He's like, oh, I did it because, I wanted to hang it on the wall. I was like, well, it's like,
I have
I don't want to tell you about any groundbreaking things, but they do make stands for hanging up your guitar.
I have a similar funny story. A friend of mine years ago, he also had an Ibanez, and he bought a guitar case for it that was slightly too short, just slightly, and he sawed the top of his guitar off, so it would fit in the case.
Have a good day, Cutter. Thanks for showing up.
Well,
Let me know about the show next Wednesday. We were talking about coming back. Let me know. Send me a private message, brother. Thank you for being here today. The guitar horror stories. Has anybody ever taken a less expensive guitar and done any DIY work to it, like stripped the paint and sanded down to the bare top, that type of thing?
I haven't, no, not really, no.
I've pimped guitars, but not not ever I've had them refretted or different pickups.
Yeah.
I've never if I think about going to do something like that, then that wouldn't be something I would do.
No.
Yeah, it's a scary thing, especially when you don't know what you're doing, but the results sometimes can be pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always good. I always try to look out of that box. I'm sitting here and that reminds me. I always like to give shout outs to companies. I'm not paid to do so. I just love the gear. And Boss is definitely one of them. This is the DD200 delay. This delay right here has several different types of delay on it. It has 4 presets. You can create 4 different delay settings and control the whole thing via switch. Plus, I'd also like to give another shout out to Boss for making this equalizer right here. The Boss G200 the 200 EQ. This right here, I would recommend to anybody, because with this many bands, it doesn't take much to find that ideal frequency. And also, well, I already showed it. Dave Friedman, Tone Merchants in North Hollywood, California. He makes some of the best amps around. He's making some of the best guitars around also. I just want to give a shout out to him. And Billy Rowe of Rock and Roll Relics over in San Francisco. Billy's an awesome guy. He's been on the show before. And he's a wonderful, wonderful person. Is there anybody, David, that you would like to give a shout out to? Any companies, students?
Say hi, my dad.
There you go.
No,
there you go.
I'm not, I don't really. I do the gear thing, but it's I don't like having any affiliation with anybody or. Simon, you? I keep saying Simon because your name in German they would say Simon, not Simon.
Well, that's okay.
I can't get it out of my head.
I lived in South America and Spain for 30 years, and they all called me Simon as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't really have any affiliation with any companies or anything. I just like to say hi to my family and friends, or any musicians or guitar players that are interested in listening.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
this is a cool idea.
Thank you. No,
thank you so much. Yeah.
I thank both of you. I love listening to what other people have to say, as you can see.
Yeah.
I'm always open to suggestions.
Yeah.
Because I'm very serious about what I do, as you can see, and my heart's in this thing, and wear my heart on my sleeve, whether it's for guitar or wireless systems or wah pedals or boss products. I wear my heart on my sleeve for this stuff. I love this stuff, and I love meeting other musicians. One of the many reasons why I started Artist Talk and started Guitar Streaming 352 is not only to get my love for music out there and to see if I could actually build some kind of a brand, because I know that my experiences and with music in this world, my life, I have a voice to say. I have a voice to be heard, and that's why I started. Yeah, and that's why
I wish you luck with your thing.
Thank you.
It's been great. It's been great.
Yeah.
And I'd like to.
Simon, nice to meet you.
You too, Dave.
Yeah.
Well, I would love to chat just a little bit off camera if you guys have time, real quick. But I just want to just thank everybody for watching today. And everybody check out the links in the description box below.
Yeah.
And follow David, follow Simon. And anybody catches this on the replay, my name is Will, aka The Dreamer. And it's my show, Artist Talk. Cool. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me on.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
No, try that again. Oh, boy.